And welcome to a special edition Cooking with Graham episode. It's, of course, the annual Easter special.
Well, Easter's a special time of year. It's a lot of the time we get together with the fam, we have a big meal, we eat some chocolate, good times to have. But of course, this year it's not going to work out like that. I'm stuck at home with my dog Kelly and myself, and we're going to still continue on the tradition of having a traditional Easter roast. So, what are we going to do with our roast? Now, a lot of people have given me a lot of compliments over the years about, geez, you cook a mean roast. How do you do it, Graham? It's not real hard. You prepare the meat, chuck it in the oven for the right time at the right temperature. That's about it for the roast part. The most important part is getting the vegetables right, and of course, the Yorkshire puddings right. And I'm going to take you through how we do that. Today's roast we'll be cooking is a 1.5 kilo piece of pork. Now have a look at that. Looks delightful. Even she believes it looks delightful. Hello, Kelly. Get your nose out of it. All right. So with this, you see this beautiful white layer across here. This is what is heaven. This is the fat, right? Now, we want this to turn into crackle. The only way you can get it turned to crackle is to take the moisture out of it. Now, salt, pretty cheap. $2 for a bag. That's about half a bag of salt in here. What we're going to do is we're going to take the pork. We're going to put it upside down in there. Really dig it in. Create a little bit of a mat around it. Another great work with the camera angles again. Working on that. So there we go. And then we take some of the side salt. We just sprinkle that across here. And we just smother it in salt. Because that is going to dry it out and crisp out. Now, this is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. We're aiming to eat at 7 o'clock. So I'll come and keep layering that with salt as we go. And that should make a really nice crackle. Obviously, you're not going to eat all that salt. We just want the salt to dry out that fat. All right. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but it doesn't mean you can't start preparing your vegetables. So over here, we've got our vegetables. So today, we've gone with broccoli, garlic, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and everyone's most hated vegetable, and my favourite, the Brussels sprout. And I'll show you later on why it is such a great vegetable when you cook it like I do. You're going to need some other things. You're going to need some gravy, some eggs, some creme fraiche, some bacon. This stuff, I'd use duck fat normally, but quite frankly, there was none in the shop, so unlucky. And you may be wondering what the flour and milk's for. Well, we're about to get into that. But you should also have your dessert ready at Easter. This is your dessert. Cadbury cream egg and a bowl of chocolate Baileys. There we go. All right. So, as I mentioned before, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you want to be starting to make your Yorkshires at this time. That's because you need to let this mix stand. If you don't make it stand, the Yorkshires don't rise. It's a complete no schmozzle. So, first things first, flour. Always sift your flour. You want to get as much air in that as possible. So, chuck about, I'd say 3/4 of a cup worth in there. Chuck that in, sift it through, shaky, shaky. Get it all nice and through. A lot of air through there. Chuck that in the washing. Couple of eggs. Straight in. Oh, missed that one. Almost cracked a yolk. Tell you what, talking about cracking yolks. Got a question for you. Forgotten it. Bugger. What do you call the Easter bunny with fleas? Bugs Bunny. He's alright, he's alright. Alright, now grab your whisk. Not over here, back here. Ow. Grab your whisk. Start to whisk that through. Now that'll dry out really quickly, so I'm trying to show you in there. Once again, terrible camera angles, but it is just becoming a complete mess. Now you need about a cup of milk. Just to pour it in slowly, just to make it loosen up a bit. And you can use an electric mixer for this if you're rich and you've got one. I prefer a hand mix, so once the milk's in there, it should start to become really fluidy. My favourite word, fluidy. And you've still got to add just a smidgen of water as it goes. Just slowly, that's in there. And then finally at the end, just a bit of salt. Alright, just to get that through. Really, now keep mixing that, then put that to the side for a good 4 hours, and then we'll mix that again later. One of the keys to cooking a roast is, of course, planning and organisation. What I've done here is I've chopped up every single one of my vegetables, ready for later on. It's still only 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm good to go. So I'll put the potatoes in the saucepan straight away. I'll chuck that straight in the fridge, along with my sweet potatoes. Got my broccoli here. Put that in the microwave. So all I have to do when it's time is put it in the microwave. I put a bit of water in that. Just enough for it to steam. Oh, there's a spare bit. Alright, that can go straight in the nooker. Then of course I've got these babies. As I said, we've got some real good surprises to come up with these babies. They're ready to go. A little bit of water in the bowl, chuck it straight in the fridge, ready to go for when they need to be cooked. Alright then, well the clock struck 5. The pork is ready to go in. So first of all we need to just get rid of that salt somewhat. Just brush it off with your hand. It's not insulting to anybody how much salt you leave on there. And then I'm going to pop it on a baking tray. Now, sorry, a roasting pan. Now this roasting pan here, it's got one of those little V's in it. I chuck some water at the bottom just to get a consistent heat through it. And then we bung that in the oven for an hour and a half. As you might remember earlier, we prepared our potatoes ready for boiling, so we can chuck them straight on because they're going to take about an hour and 40 minutes if you do them properly. Let me just fix my stove up. There we go in the fridge. Bang, we've got it. Just got to add some water, chuck on the boil, a bit of salt in there too. We like a bit of salt. You can use your pork salt. Pinch of salt on the stove. Give your potatoes about 25 minutes to parboil. Everyone says 20, I say 25. Makes them softer in the middle. Cheers. Okay, so the potatoes boil for a good 20 minutes there. We're just going to drain that off. Make sure it all comes out. Got a couple of stickers. Ow! Yeah, good. And that means that they're really well cooked, I guess. Alright. Chuck them in the metal bowl. Take your oil, which I melted in the microwave just before, your lard, pour a little bit of that on, give them a bit of a shake. Now I'm not ready to chuck them in the oven yet, so I'll put a little bit of pepper on them. We'll have a look at them, shall we? And whoop, without my finger in it, that's how they should be looking. Now I can leave them for a good 15-20 minutes before I put them in the oven, just to sit in their lard for a little while. Now, it's the moment of truth for the pork. I'm excited, you should be excited. This is almost like it's going live. Let's see how we've gone. Let's pull this out of the oven, Alright. So, looking salty. We'll have to get rid of that. But let's get the temperature gauge on that. Bear with me. We have an electric thermometer. We're just going to shove it in there because one thing's important. It's making sure the pork is cooked. Because we don't want salmonella. It's rising, it's rising. I'll come back to you. So what we've learned is, this is about 79 degrees, which is a little bit overdone, so it will probably be a little bit dry inside, but hey, it's better than it being undercooked, and I'll fix that with gravy. Alright, let's have a look at the potatoes while we're at it. They're going well, so what we'll do now is a very important part to your Yorkshire pudding, right? Take your tin, right? Put in a little bit of the lard, because you want to make sure that you melt that lard in the oven. You want it to be stinking hot, right, before you put the mix in. Otherwise they won't rise, it'll ruin the whole Yorkshire pudding experience. So I've had the oil in the pan for about 5 minutes in the oven. Let's pull that out. Oh, that's hot, melted. A little bit of oil there. Just fluidy, liquidy. So now we just quickly mix up our max batter again that we made this afternoon. Make sure we pour these into the right sections, just a little bit in each. And I'll show you how it looks in just a moment. Making sure that we try to avoid the mix touching each different one. Because if you do that, it'll help them rise. I haven't done a very good job, so I'll grab my cloth. Just make sure that they don't touch. We don't want them connected. Alright, let's have a look at this. Oh, that's my face. As we can see here, the Yorkshire has come into the oil. Now we're going to get that in the oven straight away. While we're doing that, we've pulled the potatoes out. We're just going to put some aluminium foil over the top to keep the heat in, but look at those, golden brown, with a bit of sweet potato there, all crispy, looking delightful. Now if you're anything like me, growing up, worst thing in the world, were Brussels sprouts. Changed my world when I figured out how to do this. So, bear with me whilst I take you through the greatest Brussels sprout experience you will ever have. Now, heating up a little bit of oil in a frying pan. What I've done is, I've got the Brussels sprouts and some garlic cloves in there. Not chopped up, nothing, just shoved in there because we're going to fry those up. We're going to chuck that straight in the pan. Right? You can cut them in half, it's probably a lot better, but I can be bothered, so I've just chucked them in there. We're just going to try and get some heat through that. But to add to that, God's own gift, we're going to add some bacon. Alright, we're going to get that bacon in there and we're going to fry that up for a few minutes. Alright, so we've got it nicely fried up there. Now, the next step is to get your creme fraiche, a bunch of it, get it in there. I'm going to go for more. We love a bit of creme fraiche in here. This will take and absorb all that bacony goodness, all the garlic goodness, and eliminate the sprout badness. We just mix that in. Beautiful. Give that about 45 seconds. And that is how it should look when done. Looks beautiful. We'll get that. Alright, let's see the moment of truth of cutting the pork. Now, normally I'd use an electric knife to do this, but due to the fact I can't find the blades, we're not going to do that. Just going to cut it manually. And it's quite soft and tender, so it's looking pretty damn good through there. A lot of juice through there, so it wasn't overcooked, which was my concern. Fantastic. The crackling didn't dry out as much as I'd hoped, so that's going to be quite chewy. I'll probably give that to the dog. Get through there. Beautiful. Now, because it's juicy, I can leave it together. I can just take enough for tonight. I almost forgot. We called it the moment of truth with the roast before, but we knew that was going to be alright. Yorkshire puddings are temperamental beasts. So, have my Yorkshire puddings risen? That is the question. And I know that that's all you've been hanging on for through this very long episode. So let's have a look. Look at those, baby. Big, fat, risen Yorkshire puddings. That's how you make a Yorkshire. Bang! Alright, there is no need to wipe the edge of the plate because look at the size of that meal. I am going to be full after that. All I've got left to do is add my cheek gravy. Get that on the Yorkshires, get them in the holes. Put a bit on the meat, a bit on the veggies, a bit on the sprouts, even with that creme fraiche on there. There you go. Now let's sit down and enjoy. So as I sit down to this beautiful, beautiful meal, have another look at that. Alright. Meant to be having a voice chat with my parents, having a bit of dinner with them via FaceTime because my roast was at 7, their roast was meant to be at 7, but clearly it hasn't made it 7. Oh wait, here we go. Mum, how are you? That's my mum for everybody there. Tell me, is your roast ready?
It is ready, it's just about ready to be carved.
Just about ready to be carved, not on the plate. It's all about timing, it's all about organisation. Well, that concludes an epic adventure for the Easter special edition of Cooking with Graham. Only one way to finish this off, with a bit of Baileys in my chocolate egg. So may I say, be safe and have a happy Easter. Delightful.